In Ois Beis, the Rebbe will prove that the mitzvah of Pora Aduma, even though the Eberster revealed it to Moshe Rabbeinu, and yet it's not something that Moshe Rabbeinu was able to comprehend in his seichel. Logically, he couldn't comprehend it, because if he could comprehend it, then how come Shlomo HaMelech didn't comprehend it? How come Moshe Rabbeinu didn't give the reason that he comprehended to others, as he did in other cases in which he shared? So you have to say that the reason he didn't share it was because it was not comprehensible to anybody. So how did Moshe Rabbeinu get it? The Eibishter can give things that are not comprehensible if he chooses to. So why was it specifically Moshe Rabbeinu that got that privilege of, even though it's beyond comprehension, the Eibishter explained to him revealed to him the mitzvah paraduma. Let's look inside. Base. So according to this, we need to understand what it says in the Medrash. That Hashem says to Moshe, L'cho ani megale, basically tampora. That the Eibishter is telling Moshe the reason for Porah. But from them is doch muchach. From this it's evident. As oich chukas hapora hotatam. So it seems that also the chuk of the Porah has a reasoning. So that's why Hashem couldn't reveal it to Moshe. And in that case, so the problem is, the question is, number one, if it's something which there is a reason to it, for Vosot Shlomo, how come Shlomo? But Sefim state with regards to whom it's stated, that he was smarter from all people, Nidki Kenter gained than Tam from Paraduma. How come he could not reach the reason of Paraduma? And number two, if it's a reasoning, almost seems like Shlomo HaMelech, who is the smartest, if Moshe can understand it, and Shlomo HaMelech, who is the smartest of all mankind, he should be able to understand it as well. And Beis, and number two, the question is, if it's a tam that you can understand, how come Moshe Rabbeinu did not reveal the reasoning? So to all Yidden, we already find, like the Eibishter revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu the idea of pilpul, the whole idea of pilpul in Torah, and Moshe Rabbeinu shared it. So, just as Moshe Rabbeinu did with pilpul deraisa, with the level of being able, the give and take of Torah, the pilpul of Torah, as the Eibishter was gegeben nur zu Moshe, Hashem has given it only to Moshe. Und von deswegen, noch but Tevasayin, who this refers to Moshe Rabbeinu, he conducted himself with a good eye, and he gave it to the Yidden. So even if Hashem just revealed the reason for Paraduma to Moshe Rabbeinu, how come Moshe Rabbeinu didn't share it with the other people? So how come Shlomo didn't understand? How come he didn't share it? So we have to say, therefore, that it was not a shareable thing. It wasn't something that he can give over. So we have to say, as Meniyas Hagilu is not given to leave them, but Moshe was not given megalazai. The reason it wasn't revealed was not because Moshe did not want to reveal it, because if Moshe could reveal it, he would reveal it. Or maybe Hashem told him not to reveal it. That's not the reason. Nor to leave them was the time from Porah Aduma. But the reason why he didn't reveal it is because the reason for Porah Aduma is nit begeder hasoga fun seichel fun anivra. It is not within the confines, in the limitation of understanding of the intellect of a created human being. And therefore, is Moshe Rabbeinu voltas megala given. If Moshe Rabbeinu would reveal it, wollten sie dem Tam nicht gekannt verstehen. They could not understand the reason, which means makabel sein. They couldn't accept it. Und wie der Eibishter gesagt zu Moshe, bin ich gehe zu Taras Paradum. As we see, Hashem said to Moshe as it relates to the purity of the paraduma. Hashem said, this is a statue, it's a decree that has decreed. And look, listen to the words Rabbi emphasizes over here. No creature can stand on my decree. They don't understand what it is. So it wouldn't help Moshe Rabbeinu to say it to them because they wouldn't be able to understand it and accept it. Und der Riber hat euch Shlomo b'chochmosei nit gekent masig sein dem Tam from Paraduma. Therefore, also Shlomo, with his wisdom, could not grasp the reason of Paraduma. As he said, he rechoika mimeni. It's destined from me. Unafila Moshe Rabbeinu, even Moshe, our teacher, was his given shleimus min ha'anushi. He is the wholesome of the human species. With his own powers could not grasp it. Because this is not within the limitations of the intellect of a created being. He cannot grasp it. So the question is, how did Moshe Rabbeinu grasp it? The Eibishter can do anything. The Eibishter can put non-graspable things above seichel into some seichel, and the Eibishter did it to Moshe Rabbeinu. Now the Eibishter welcher is kol yochel. Since the Eibishter is all able, can do anything. Farim zayin and nitok kein shum hagbolis. There are no limitations for Hashem. Hat der Eibishter mit zayin koyach v'cholos. So Hashem, with his power and abilities, megale given to Moshe Rabbeinu, he revealed to Moshe, our teacher, as opposed to l'cho ani megale tam pora. To you, I am revealing the reason of the pora. Choch anivre mitzad atzmei ken to them nitzukumen. Although a created being on his own is not able to reach that, Eibishter gave it to him. So it turns out that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't really grasp it as a rational thing that he can grasp, because a human being can't grasp it. Shlomo Melech couldn't grasp it. Moshe couldn't share it with him. But the question is, since Hashem just sort of pushed it into Moshe, revealed it to him, so Hashem could have done it to anybody else. So how come Hashem did it only to Moshe? So based on this, the question arises, does Moshe Rabbeinu have masi given them tam from Paraduma? Since he was able to grasp the reason for Paraduma, not with his own strength, nor the Eibishter given, but Hashem revealed it to him with his power, which is limitless. So that Hashem could use that same power. He was able to reveal this reasoning also to others. So that means that other people can understand it as well. So not understand it or be revealed to them. So why is it that Hashem revealed it only to Moshe Rabbeinu? In Ois Gimel, the Rebbe explains that the whole idea of Chukah, Zois Chukas HaTorah, is actually telling us that all the mitzvahs of the Torah and all the study of the Torah, that even those that are logical and even those that we do understand, essentially are really Chukas. Gimel is the beard in them, and it's important to know that. And that's the way to really reach success in mitzvahs and Torah, is by realizing that the mitzvahs are really chukim and the Torah is really beyond seichel. Gimel is the beard in them. Says Yadua der Pirush. It's known, the interpretation in Zois Chukas HaTorah. We say Zois Chukas HaTorah, the statue, not Chukas Paraduma, but Chukas HaTorah. Need Zois Chukas HaPorok Yetzba. We don't use like Chukas HaYetzba, Be'erzok. Zois Chukas HaPasach, like we say, Zois Chukas HaPasach has the mitzvah of Paraduma. Is HaTorah, Zois Chukas HaTorah. The Paraduma is the Torah statue. Close HaTorah, Torah in general. How does the Paraduma represent Torah in general? Represent by Chukah. That the aspect of Chukah, Paraduma, is the Torah. Zois HaTorah, this is Chukas HaTorah. About other inyan is ausgedrückt mit dem Wort Chuka. Since this idea is expressed with the word Chuka, is move on, so it's understood. Ados was Pora Aduma is Klolos HaTorah. That why is Pora Aduma Torah in general? Is as mitzadem inyan hachuka vasinir. That's the aspect of chuka which is in Torah. As is madgish is emphasized as the inyan hachuka from Pora Aduma. This aspect that Pora Aduma is a chuka is the nekuda klolis from kol Torah kula. That's the general theme, the general idea of all the Torah, that it's all chuka. All chuka, all Torah, meaning both the mitzvahs of the Torah and the study of Torah. Thus is Saiba negates mitzvahs Torah. This is also as it pertains to the mitzvah of the Torah. Saiba shaychas to Torah lane, and also had it connects to the study of Torah. Mochen filmul geret. We have already spoken many times as alle mitzvahs, that all mitzvahs, oich fosuk edus mishpatim, also those who are in the category of testimonials, they testify, like Shabbos, that Hashem created the world, Pesach, Hashem took us out of Egypt, umishpatim, or logical, not to steal, and the rest of the logical mitzvahs. So even those that they have a logical reasoning is mahusam rotzen elyon, but in essence, it's not the reason. They are Hashem's will. Which is beyond understanding, beyond chokhmah and beyond intellect. No, the Eibishter had gewollt, but Hashem wanted as the rotzen from the mitzvahs, that the rotzen of these mitzvahs, the edus, the mishpatim that have reasoning, so kommen und is slabisch werden in chokhmah v'seichel, that it should descend and get dressed up in chokhmah and the intellect. Aber euch noch der is slabshus, but even after it's dressed up in a tam sichli, in a reasoning, intellectual reasoning, bleibt der rotzen ha'elyon b'mhusei u'b'pshitusei hecher von hasoger. So it still remains, Hashem's will for that mitzvah remains in its essence and in its simplicity, which means there's no reason there. It's just that's Hashem's will. Hecher von hasoger. This is beyond understanding. So we can say as oy is oy benegeya to Torah. Also with regard to the study of Torah, or the knowledge of Torah. Also those aspects of Torah which a human being understands than with his intellect. In their emerson hecher together hasaga. The truth is that they are higher than the confines, than the limitations, the boundaries of understanding. So you are, while you're understanding, but it doesn't really mean that that's it, that is higher than understanding. But Torah is the Chachmasei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Torah is the wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is the Chmuva. It's understood as Shem She'ein V'Choyle Shum Seichel Nivra Lahasik Beirei. Just it's not in the capabilities of any intellect that has been created, any human being to understand, to grasp the Creator. Likewise, you can't grasp Hashem's wisdom. And it's written, it's hidden from the eyes of all living things. So basically, that is what the idea of Zois Chukas HaTorah. The Torah, even things that we learn, are still considered to be levels of Chukim. In Ois Dalet, the Rebbe continues to explain that not only are the Torah mitzvahs chukim, but we need to know that they are chukim as such. That's why the Torah tells us, Zois chukas haTorah, so that we need to understand that even those mitzvahs that we do because they are logical, and even the Torah that we understand, that in essence they're above reason. Dalet. Oti Yediyah is negeya yedin eden in zayin avodah from Torah mitzvahs. This knowledge that this is all higher than seichel, that it's a chukah, is important to every Jew in his service of Torah mitzvahs. Der kiyum von alle mitzvahs, the observance of all mitzvahs, oich von die was haben atam, also from those that have a reasoning, darf sein the derech kabbalas oil, need to be in a way of accepting the yoke. Balazoi is given der tzivu von Eibusha, because that is the command of Hashem. That's why we're doing the mitzvahs. All mitzvahs, even the reasonable one, the rational. Hashem decreed, He made a statue, and that's why we listen to it. When we see is their nusach, and that is the language from alle birchas mitzvahs. All blessing, not only logical, all blessing, and not only illogical, all blessings we make mitzivonu. Basically, we were instructed. The reason we're doing mitzvahs, even if we understand them, is because we were instructed to do so. The same thing is true when we study Torah. And even more so. The Baldas Torah is ein soif, since there is no limit to Torah, it's limitless. Is wie groß sein Avona b'Torah soll nicht sein. No matter how great the person's understanding of Torah is, feltim noch als in asogas Torah, is always lacking in grasping of the Torah. B'meila darfer noch mer horven. Therefore, he needs to put even more effort. As dos was is ba'im given bizitz l'maylam b'hasoga. That which was up till now beyond his grasp, so that das kana banemen mizayin verstand. Now he's able to grasp it with his understanding. So he knows that there's always to grow. So, what is the inyan of chukas b'Torah? The inyan of chukas b'Torah is ba'im zayin in hecher yonim. So, accepting and knowing that it's beyond sechel will be in new things, because already the old things that were chukah, now he understands them. Bis ezel tzukumen to amitis hachukah from Torah, till you can reach the true level of Torah, as is l'mayla megeder hasoga, that is totally Torah is beyond megeder hasoga. Previous levels are just relative to the previous level. This is a chukah. Once you grasp it, you have to go to the next chukah, and then ultimately you reach the level of chukah which is beyond anything to grasp. The Riber Zokter Pasuk, and that is why the Pasuk says, Zois Chukas HaTorah. Hagam as in Torah, although that in Torah, Zainen do inyonim usugim, Bozayin Rabbi Kumen in Tambadas, there are matters and there are categories that have been descended into reason and to understanding and knowledge. Kenis Kalila said earlier, Zan ze Ober is a Mahus Allah. But in their essence, they're all higher than grasping. Torah mit alle ihre mitzvahs is chukah. Torah together with all mitzvahs are a statue. Nochmer, says an al achukah b'oifim for mitzvah paraduma. They're not just a general statue, but they're all in a level of a chukah statue, just like the paraduma. Zois chukas haTorah. This is the statue of the Torah. But is legamri hecher from Geder Chochmah V'Hasoga, which is entirely higher than Hasoga. That is what all Torah, that's Zois Chukas HaTorah. Not a regular Chukah, but a Chukah Parah Aduma. And knowing that helps the person to really fulfill the mitzvahs properly as a Chukah, and also in Torah to grow to the mitzvahs in a proper way. In Ois Hey, the Rebbe will explain that because Hashem wants us to do all mitzvahs in a way of beyond and to learn Torah in a way that is beyond seichel, Hashem made one mitzvah that it should be irrational. That's why we have the mitzvah of paraduma, which is totally irrational. There is no rationale at all for it, in essence. And the reason is because if we only did things because of the rationale, it would be impossible for us to reach beyond and to do sometimes a mitzvah when it requires mesiras nefesh. Not only literally, but to go beyond yourself. You wouldn't be able to do so because everything would be rational. That's why the Eibishter made one mitzvah, the mitzvah paraduma, so that we can sort of reach higher. Hey, Lifizeh is move on. So according to this, we understand, but I'll call upon him that at least ein inyan in Torah, there is one aspect of Torah, had gedarft bleiben a chukah, needed to remain in a way of a statue. Und damit aufweisen, and that would point to the fact that euch alle andere inyonim seinen azoi b'mitosum, that also all other matters are truly also statues. L'mayla megeder hasoga, they're beyond the level of grasping. Und der Far hat es der Eibishter nicht megale gewinnt sehen. That's why Hashem did not reveal it to you. So there should be something beyond their understanding. When alle inyonim from Torah, wollten nimshach und islamisch geworden. In Hasoga von den Nevroim, if all aspects of Torah would have been extended and it would have been dressed up in the understanding of the created being, is noisov, in addition, if them was demot volt gefelt in them hergish, then you would be lacking that sense, that feeling, mitzvahs, nor mitzad rotzen elyon, that you would only do it because it's Hashem's rotzen. Because if everything was logical, you wouldn't get that sense. We need to do it because Hashem says us to do so. So therefore, but in addition to that, is oik damel vot gekumen an in Torah mitzvahs. So if a person would come to an aspect of Torah mitzvahs, was fordert mesiras nefesh, that requires self-sacrifice. Wollte Ayid nicht gekannt Peil sein bei sich. Ayid could not accomplish that by himself. As all in Yonah Torah sein auf Seichel, since all aspects of Torah are according to logic. Und also is sein Anhog auf die Torah allemol, and that's according to the Torah. He's also doing logical. Und das wird angerührt, kama v'kama prot mekima Torah mitzvahs. Not doing things in a mesiras nefesh way, only in a logical way, would affect many pratim, many details, how we do a mitzvah. Not only in circumstances when we are actually dealing with mesiras nefesh, self-sacrifice, it would touch other aspects. Well, when a bar seichel, if a person with an intellect needs to do something which is not logical, is as ba'ima for mesiras nefesh. That is a matter of self-sacrifice, not literally, but you have to give up of the way you do things logically. Bis as ken tzukumen, so a person can logically come, and if he didn't have mesiras nefesh, the person can come and justify and explain and rationalize all kinds of behavior if he doesn't have that sense of mesiras nefesh beyond it. A person can come to, as the Ramban uses the Loshen, a novel b'rshus HaTorah. You can be a novel, you can be a terrible person, and you got permission or right from the Torah. In other words, you found the reasoning in the Torah rationalization how to misbehave and still be close to the right. Because if a person only hears and senses the logical reasoning in matters of Torah, without the beyond seichel, but that he can find Torah explanation on time and reasoning of his non-good conduct, of his bad conduct. The Rebbe doesn't use the word bad. The Rebbe says nit good and not good hanogas, to speak in the clean, positive language. Same thing is true with study and grasping Torah. So that matzos in Torah, in order to be able to reach finding in Torah, mitzia, in a way of a finding, which is not calculated according to Seichel, which is higher than his grasping, darf sein yogaiter. You have to put in effort. Effort means going beyond your Seichel. Amelim b'Torah, to work hard in Torah. As long as a person only is satisfied with his usual depth, and understanding in Torah and Torah, is thus nit kin emsi yigir, then it's not a true effort, and you're not going to reach the level of matzos. Specifically, when he puts an effort in the study of Torah, more than his usual, more than his comfort zone, to the extent he goes against the natural intellect, it's beyond what he can expect of himself, of understanding. Then you come, you guide to matzos, then you find. That comes just by not thinking. It comes to you, not prepared. Beyond your seichel. Similar to the advantage of the Babylonian Talmud over the Jerusalem Talmud that's explained in many places, that because of the straightforwardness of the Talmud Yerushalmi, lack of effort, the halacha remains of like the Bavli. There's an advantage because things comes that work through. You put in effort. There's the Yogaita. That's where you come to the higher level of Matzasa, and that's why the halacha is like Talmud Bavli. Das alles is shaykh nor then in Torah is do begilui. But when can you come to this realization, to effort beyond your seichel, mitzvahs beyond the reason? Is when is Torah is do begilui and inyam, when there is an openly one matter, but his hechel legamri from Gedera seichel, which is totally higher than the definition of the intellect. Was the fun veisayid, because the fact that there's such a mitzvah as Chukas Torah, Ayid knows as b'pnimis is al azoyin al inyan Torah. That in essence, this is actually true with all matter of Torah. They're all chukim. Zois Chukas Torah. When people are so verstehen, and how much as you can understand, how much you understand, it's faran als hecher and hecher in Geder HaSoga. There is higher and higher in the definition of grasping. Und das ruft by Maruis de Tenua, and this calls out by him that movement von Yogaita, caused him to put effort in. That avekleg bittul, put himself away, negate yourself, subjugate yourself from sein seichel, remove yourself from your seichel. Bizer vetzukumen, so he can reach to the madrege from Torah v'zis be'etzen l'mayla v'geder hasogen, can reach the level of Torah as it is, in essence, higher than understanding. Tachlis ha'yidiyah shaloi nidacha. The ultimate goal of knowledge is not to know Hashem. There's where he wants to get to, that there's actually no getting Hashem. So that's why we needed that mitzvah of the Torah, at least one mitzvah, so that we can treat all other mitzvahs on the same kind of a level that it's higher than Seichel. Now the Rebbe is going to ask, in that case, how come Hashem revealed it to Moshe Rabbeinu? It turns out that then that Moshe Rabbeinu lost out. Now he doesn't have a thing which is higher than Seichel, and we'll learn the rest of the Sikha that Moshe Rabbeinu's level was Lachatchila higher than that, so that wasn't a problem, as we will continue learning.